Never before in 3 decades of WNBA history has this happened, until Caitlin Clark pulled it off twice in just 1 week. With only 27 minutes on the court, she dropped 27 points and dished out 11 assists. When the game ended, Clark and her Fever squad had smashed 15 records in one single matchup against Connecticut. Out of those, 9 records belonged to Clark and Clark alone. And one record on that list? No player in WNBA history has ever gotten close. I'll break down exactly which one in a second. Calling this a basketball game would be an understatement. It was a total takeover, and we're going through every single record that got wiped out tonight. Show Caitlin some love. Drop CC MVP in the comments right now.
Player of the week, Caitlin Clark, putting together one of her best halves in her career. 17 points on 5 of 5 from the three-point line.
In 10.5 minutes of the game, she's been fantastic, and she's mixed up her drives and her threes with 5 assists to complement her scoring. She's got it all working tonight, making it look easy for herself and for her teammates.
Let's rewind to before tip-off, because the real question hanging over Indiana had nothing to do with stats. It came down to one word: healthy. Earlier in the season, Clark had sat out with injury, and every time she stepped back on the court, the same nervous routine played out. Fans watched every cut, every step, every landing, holding their breath for any sign of a wince. The more games she missed, the more the worry grew. But Clark ended the debate herself. After stringing together 3 solid games in a row, she told reporters she finally felt like herself again. And players don't say that unless they mean it.
Caitlin, for you mentioned kind of feeling back to yourself. How much these past 3 games has it been kind of almost like a mental boost for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, you never like being out with injury. Like, it's hard for anybody, and I think especially last year, like having to go through it, like the 4 games off, 4 games play, 4 games on, 4 games, whatever it was. Like, that's really hard to kind of find a flow. So, I think for myself, like just being resilient and able to get my body back pretty quickly to where it was before I missed a couple games, and then just finding my flow. And
before tip-off even happened, let's rewind, because the real question hanging over Indiana had nothing to do with stats. It came down to one word: healthy. Earlier in the season, Clark had sat out with injury, and every time she stepped back on the court, the same nervous routine played out. Fans watched every cut, every step, every landing, holding their breath for any sign of a wince. The more games she missed, the more the worry grew. Clark herself ended the debate. After stringing together 3 solid games in a row, she told reporters she finally felt like herself again. Players don't say that unless they mean it.
Sometimes it can be hard for my teammates too. Like, you don't want to come in and disrupt when you haven't been in a couple games. So just kind of easing my way back into everything. And, they've made it easy too.
Even before the outside world caught on, the locker room already felt the shift. Kelsey Mitchell kept talking up Clark's hunger to be her best self, night after night. Meanwhile, Aaliyah Boston noticed her comfort level growing with every single game. Outside, it was all doubt and question marks. But inside that locker room, total calm, total confidence. Like they were sitting on a secret the rest of the league hadn't figured out yet.
Perspective, what have you seen from Caitlin here over these past few games as she's gotten healthier?
I just think her ability to lead, even while dealing with injury, and wanting to be your best self and letting your body be at your best self is a really big deal for us. We've always obviously had some fluctuation as far as like people being in and out. So I get my hats off to Tutu to still like lead us and put us in the right position to really be effective.
That gap between outside doubt and inside belief. That's exactly where this whole story lives. And here's a taste of how it ends. 27 points, 11 assists. Hold on to those numbers, because in a minute I'll show you why that single stat line practically breaks the sport in half. Clark didn't just tell reporters she felt fine. She made the entire Connecticut Sun roster feel it, possession after possession, until Back to Myself turned into something nobody saw coming. Right out of the gate, Clark put together one of the best halves of her entire career. 17 points, 5 for 5 from 3, all inside the first 10 minutes of the game. She wasn't just scoring either. She mixed in drives, threes, and 5 assists, making the whole thing look effortless for herself and everyone around her. But before we even get into Clark's personal numbers, the team rewrote its own history first. Indiana has simply never scored like this before. From the opening tip, the pace was unfair. Clark hit 5 straight threes in the first quarter alone, and you could actually watch Connecticut's confidence drain away in real time. They switched defenders. They doubled her. They packed the paint. None of it mattered. Nothing slowed this team down even a little. By halftime, the scoreboard read 70 points. 70 points in a single half, a brand new franchise record, smashing the old mark of 64 set just last July. And Clark's fingerprints were all over it, scoring or assisting on 35 of those 70 points. Indiana dropped at least 25 points in every single quarter, which is relentless for a team that people kept saying was still finding its rhythm. The final score, 123 points. That's a franchise record for any game ever played, and it's the third highest total in regulation across 3 decades of WNBA basketball. Out of thousands of games in this league's history, only 2 teams have ever scored more without needing overtime. At the pace they were playing, 130 was well within reach. The final result was 123-88, a 35-point beatdown, the second largest margin of victory in franchise history, with Indiana winning every single quarter. Connecticut never got a single stretch of hope, and that now makes 11 games this season with 100-plus points, tying a WNBA record, with 17 games still left on the schedule to break it outright. The bench made sure this offensive machine never cooled down for a second. Tyasha Harris came off the bench and delivered 12 points and 6 assists. Monique Billings chipped in 12 more. Sophie Cunningham, Grace Van Sloten, and Michaela Timpson kept the pressure suffocating while the starters caught their breath. 31 bench points. That's usually the difference between a good win and a total blowout. And Aaliyah Boston refused to let this be a one-woman show. She dropped 22 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists in just 20 minutes on the floor. By halftime, she actually had more assists than both Kelsey Mitchell and Tyasha Harris combined, a forward outpassing the guards on her own team. Now stack all 3 of them together. Clark with 27, Mitchell with 23, Boston with 22. All 3 scored over 20 points in the same game for the 7th time in their careers together, and the 3rd time this season alone. No trio of teammates in WNBA history has pulled that off more often. This wasn't Clark carrying passengers. This was 3 All-Stars detonating at the exact same time. And that combined firepower is what fueled the individual record-breaking still to come. 9 of the 15 records broken that night belong to one player alone, and a couple of them exist in a category of exactly one player, ever. Let's start small. Clark now has 14 made shots from 30-plus feet this season, a WNBA record on its own. We're not talking about wing threes here. We're talking about logo-range bombs, the kind of shot that gets bench players benched. And she's hitting them at a rate this league has genuinely never seen before. Now let's go up a level. Clark has 10 career games with at least 25 points and 10 assists, the most in WNBA history. Second place on that list belongs to Sabrina Ionescu, with 5. Clark has literally doubled the next best guard to ever do it, and she's still only in year 3 of her career. Here's where things start to get ridiculous: the minutes. Clark now holds both first and second place for the fewest minutes ever played in a 25-point, 10-assist game. 27 minutes against Connecticut, and just 29 minutes against Seattle only days before that. She's putting up all-time stat lines and heading to the bench before the 4th quarter even starts to matter. And that brings us to the record I teased at the very start. In 30 years of league history, across hundreds of players, exactly one player has ever recorded 25 points and 10 assists in under 30 minutes of play: Caitlin Clark. And she just did it twice within the same 7 days. Now throw in the plus-minus, and it gets even more absurd. Indiana outscored Connecticut by 26 points during the minutes Clark was on the floor, making her the first player in league history with 25-plus points, 10-plus assists, and a plus 25 rating in the same game. She wasn't just scoring. Her team was burying the opponent every single second she was out there. And she's still not done. Clark now has 7 career games with 25 points, 10 assists, and 5 made threes. Every other player in WNBA history, combined, has 4. She's also got 6 games this season with 20 points and 10 assists, and the rest of the entire league combined also has 6. And she's doing all of this while averaging fewer minutes than any 20-point per game guard season in league history. So when Clark told reporters she felt "back to myself," this is exactly what that looks like on paper: 9 records in one night, with at least 2 of them sitting in a category all their own. Meanwhile, Kelsey Mitchell was quietly writing her own chapter. She hit 3 or more threes for an 11th straight game, now the 5th longest streak in WNBA history. Give her even half a second on a closeout, and it's 3 points the other way. Pair that with Clark running the offense, and there is simply no clean way left to defend this Indiana team. Then the third quarter got a little heated. Clark took another hard foul driving to the basket, the kind that's been following her all season long. A Connecticut guard started talking trash afterward, claiming she'd shut Clark down. Clark's response was simple: check the scoreboard. It read 95-67 at the time. The refs ended up handing out double technicals, and that's where things got a bit more serious. That technical was Clark's 7th of the season. One more, and she's looking at an automatic 1-game suspension, meaning she's now just one bad whistle away from a forced night off, with 17 games still left to play. The head coach joked about it afterward, saying Clark could basically pick her own rest day at this point. But underneath the joke was a real truth. That same fire and edge that points back at scoreboards is exactly what's producing stat lines nobody has touched in 3 decades. Ask her to tone it down, and the records might disappear right along with it. And the week still wasn't finished with her. Clark was just named the cover athlete for the next major NBA 2K release. Not some spin-off version, but the full global premium edition, dropping worldwide this September, putting her right alongside 2 of basketball's biggest men's stars. No WNBA player has ever landed that cover before. Clark called the moment surreal and said she hopes some young girl picks up a controller one day and realizes women's basketball belongs in that exact same conversation as the men's game. And credit where it's rarely given. 2 of her teammates handled all the invisible dirty work that night. The box-outs, the charges, the physical grind that lets superstars actually go be superstars. Whether she's pointing at a scoreboard or staring back at you from a video game cover, Clark is simply impossible to ignore right now. Picture that walk off the court. 27 minutes played, 27 points scored, 11 assists dished out. A stat line that stood untouched for 30 years, produced twice in a single week, and every single question about her health now buried under 15 broken records. Now look at what this season is turning into. Clark, Mitchell, and Boston all hitting 20 points in the same game. An offense that has no answer anywhere in the league right now. And an MVP case that's basically writing itself in real time. And here's the scary part. This team is just getting started. The next game might top this one entirely. If you enjoyed breaking down this record-shattering night, drop a comment letting us know your favorite moment, hit that like button, and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Because with this Indiana squad, it feels like history's about to get rewritten all over again.